right now on RealAgriculture.com by Blair Roth. He's with Viterra, and we're at FarmTech 2012. Welcome to Blair.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
So when you look at the pulse market for the coming year, is pulses going to be a demand story or more of a supply story coming into this year?
Well, okay, let's break it out again and say on lentils, it's a supply story really on reds, because a lot of guys still have reds from 2010. So we've got 2 years supply we got to chew through, and that 10 crop is wrinkled and it's ugly and it's hard to sell. The 11 crop is a nice quality crop, but there's lots of both of those years out there, and if we look at Australia, they got a similar situation where there's a fairly large carryout. So that's what we're chewing through right now. We just see that market starting to wake up, but it's because of, we've come down to values that work internationally. And so when we look at those values, in the 17, 18 cent range, for a lot of growers, when they look at sub 20, they turn their noses and say, well, red's not so much.
But if acres are down, let's say 20%, that's going to help too.
Absolutely, and it definitely will help. And I think that some of that 10 crop is going to have to find alternative market outlets because, as long as we've got quality, customers around the world don't want to see those wrinkles. And so that's going to have an issue in terms of as that 10 crop disappears, all of a sudden your carryout isn't as large as you thought it was.
What about peas?
Peas in terms of this next year, we're going to see, this year we'll probably basically clean out, we won't have a lot of carryout. So the opportunity is there and really dependent on where we go in India in terms of what their supplies look like. Right now, a little drought stress, looking soft, and we've got this whole new legislation in India that they're working on in terms of trying to, again, reinsure that every person in India has food, and sort of a food stability act. And, we don't really know today, what does that mean? Is that going to mean greater opportunity? What we've seen in the past is there's a number of quasi-government bodies in India that always tender and they try to manipulate the markets, and in most cases they've ended up being manipulated. So I mean, there's some challenges there that we have to understand.